get something on Instagram. All right, it says we are live there. Let me, I think I have to wait for Instagram for the preview to pop up. Try to create a new IG stream. All right. We are going to get started in a moment. Testing. Okay, so it is coming up on. I'm so trying to respect the platforms coming up on Twitter.
Do your thing. Don't
Look at me. I'm like trying.
You do your thing.
All right, let's see. I'm not seeing it come on YouTube yet. I'll give it a second so I can just make sure Instagram is gonna go. I might have to refresh it and re-edit the stream key. Yeah, hold on a second. It's okay. All right. I just want to make sure
it's only going live on your platform though, right? So it's not like we're joint going live from mine, huh?
Yes, correct. And there is a feature that I can do it so guests can like add their destinations too. So I'm gonna figure that out. But no, StreamYard's pretty cool. Oh, it shows you too, like how many people are on here? 17. Look at me. All right, y'all.
Dang, you got a whole situation. Okay, we see you, Jazz.
Look at y'all. Y'all gonna have to give me grace because I'm making sure IG is connected real fast. Okay, I have to re-add my IG, y'all. And then hopefully it goes. But look, now I'm gonna know how to do it. I'm supposed to see a preview in a second, but no, Erinn, thank you so much for joining. All right, so it is showing IG. Hold on, let me go live. Okay, Instagram is going. Oh, I can see the comments. Look at y'all. Look, I can be a beginner. I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? Like, y'all can see me trying to figure out tech. I tweeted on Twitter, like, y'all give me grace. I'm testing this out today. We're here though. We're here though. Perfect, y'all. And Erinn, you can still hear me okay? You're good on your end? Quick thumbs up if you can hear me.
Yeah, we're rocking over there.
Okay, perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Thank y'all for waiting patiently while we tested all of the tech on our end. It should be streaming on Instagram, YouTube. Look, I'm trying to make sure it gets there, so I will double check that one in just a second, but IG is a go. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Y'all, welcome to our first Industry Trailblazers Chats. I'm so excited for this series. I had a vision for a digital series that I really wanted to bring to life for the agency in 2024. And I love conversations. I love connecting with the people, with the community. And there's so many people that I've come across, like especially on social, who I've connected with. And I'm like, oh, you're doing incredible things within your respective fields. How can we amplify, champion, spotlight, and share a little bit more of those stories and of those journeys? So excited to have our first guest on, Erinn. I came across Erinn probably, I don't know, over a year ago for sure. I've been following you for a while, but I'm always, especially as someone who is pivoting. I mean, I've been working in social and marketing for like 10 years, but coming into like the music side of things, definitely there are a lot of areas that were new to me. So I was like looking the past few years, like who are the people who are doing cool things in the space, follow people. So definitely wanted to bring this series to life. I am gonna allow Erinn to introduce herself in just a second, but thank y'all for joining. If you're catching the replay, want to say hi. Thank you for coming back and tuning in, even if you aren't able to make it live today. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. This is gonna be just a nice conversation. So y'all, I know it's around dinner time. If you didn't eat yet, get a snack, grab some water, get comfortable and settle in. It's going to be a fun conversation. There will be some time for some Q&A towards the end, of course. So if you are streaming on Twitter, X, if you're streaming on YouTube, I'm gonna make sure that's all going. Those comments should be pulling it in so we can see them. And then Instagram, I just have to check. So put your comments in wherever you're streaming from. And yes, let's go ahead and get started. So I am going to go ahead and pass the mic to Erinn and allow her to introduce herself. And then, yeah, we'll just go ahead and run through some questions that we have that we definitely want to dig in more during this conversation. And we'll just flow from there.
What's up, y'all? I'm Erin. I'm the co-founder of Build Your Own Dreams, and in a nutshell, I'm myself for a living, which is super cool because that's always been my dream. And well, as it's been my dream as long as I've understood the premise of what I do. So, yeah, my company uh, iterates as whatever I'm into. I have a business partner. His name is Brandon. He's based in Austin. I'm from Atlanta. I'm an ATLian. Show y'all that because we go piece up A Town down. So you see the flying saucer on there. Sorry, I can't. It's the mirror thing. My mind just can't comprehend it. But there's a
You're all
flying
good.
saucer on my hand. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's a spaceship. I'm like, no, spaceships go to space. Flying saucers come to Earth. It's a different gang. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, being from Atlanta informs a lot of the way that I think and function as a human and as a woman. Um, I grew up around a lot of just like creative and unique minded people. Uh, Atlanta is known as the city too busy hustling to hate. So we're just a city of hustlers. Uh, Good energy, really sweet people. It feels like a big small town. And yeah, I just moved for the first time ever in my whole life. I travel for a living, and so I've never felt the need to move. But last year was a tough year for me. So I got out of my environment in every way possible. And now I'm in another city. I'm in Nashville. I guess I could tell y'all that. So that's tied into what I want to do right now. So I decided to move up here. But my business partner is in Austin, and I'm down there building community twice a month usually. So I split my time between Austin and Nashville, but I still do a lot of work in Atlanta. So I'm in Atlanta regularly. Like I'll be there next week, and then the week after that. So yeah, I'm Erin from the South Side of Atlanta. I've done pretty much every job in the music industry on the what do you call it, entrepreneurial side. So I started out as an artist manager in rock music. I did like Warp Tour, started a label with the band, went overseas, came back. Uh, Went into a tech music incubator in Oakland for a month. So we lived out there. I learned what an MVP was. I learned how to think differently. And then I came back over to Atlanta and just brought some of that there. Then we started building events and shows, small festival. We had the first one we had was called Jam Festa Party. It sold out like 200 people. We were stoked. And then from there, yeah, it just kept growing. But then the band kind of decided that they just wanted to chill and be a band and they didn't really want to work. And they wanted me to carry all of the weight of the work. And I was like, beloved, it don't work like that. So, and they also had some things they were, changing and morphing as humans as we do. But
Yep.
we just weren't in alignment anymore. So I left the band. At that time, I was managing this underground venue in Atlanta in like a high school that they had converted into a creative club or a creative space, photo, whatever. They used to shoot a lot of really cool music videos there. But then they shut it down because the city sold it to developers. So for like a year, it was essentially an abandoned high school. Me and my
Oh,
homies were trapping it out, um, and
I love
throwing
that.
throwing these crazy shows on the east side of Atlanta. Uh, yeah, the Arts Exchange. If anybody knows the Arts Exchange, man, hallowed ground. And so yeah, we was there until the water stopped running. Really, because they kept the water on, which is so. And we had a little bootleg thing. We would throw all sorts of shows, but we used to do this 3 a.m. show that I loved. I learned how to manage a bar, learned how to manage a venue in that process, learned how to manage a bar staff. And then from there, yeah, I was managing a reggaeton Afrobeat artist. He was the one who actually like owned the venue. And then went into underground hip hop and was because of that, underground hip hop shows, started working with A3C and brought them rock shows so that they could have a different flavor. And then from there, I started really promoting shows because a lot of people were like, how do you get these shows? So I started throwing shows, and rappers wanted to get on shows, and I didn't know much about hip hop. So I started throwing this thing called Rap Reel that was kind of based on my experience in England. After I started the label, we went overseas and toured over there, had a really great experience. That's a crazy story in and of itself. We were there for like 3 months, which is dope. And then after that, I think I got into, yeah, like Christian hip hop. And then I started a booking agency because I realized there was a gap in the market. There were no Christian hip hop booking agencies. And there were a lot of guys who could sell a decent amount of tickets, but all they were
Right.
trying to do was get booked in churches. And my parents are pastors, but I didn't know that at that point in my life, I didn't know that pastors were paying rappers to come rap to their youth groups. Like my parents were like, nah, you know what I'm saying?
Thought
Like they
about
they may
that.
pay like a gospel singer, if that, but they're like, nah, you coming to sing for God. We'll give you a little tip, you know what I'm saying? But my parents are old school. So yeah, I started a booking agency with two partners, one who's my partner in Build Your Own Dreams and another one. And so we started throwing like really successful tours. I have the venue side on lock, and then my other
Got you.
business partner had the churches on lock. And then Brandon, my business partner in Build Your Own Dreams, he had the back end on lock. So he would do all of our ticketing, customer service, ads, graphics, ideation, all the stuff on socials. It was a really good situation. And then, yeah, and then we started Build Your Own Dreams during the pandemic. I promise you, my resume is almost over. And Build Your Own Dreams originally
Take your
started,
time. Take your time.
for sure. I don't believe in rushing myself or any Black woman, but I appreciate you. And so during the pandemic, we had basically a bunch of tours planned, and the way that we function, I would just buy the venue. I wasn't, trying to convince a promoter that we could sell tickets. I knew my numbers. I knew my numbers in bigger and smaller markets. So I would buy the venue, which is expensive, but then you get to keep all the ticket sales. So we had bought like, and I was putting them mostly. I was, some of them were cash, a lot of them were on my credit card. I had bought like um the venue, like 5 venues for one tour. At least put the deposit down, and then I had bought flights for the whole first tour, and then we had started investing in other stuff for the next 3 tours. So I basically had from it was by the time we hit the end of February, we had everything planned through like August or September, with our
Yeah.
clientele. Then the pandemic happened, and I lost like $25,000. The most money I'd ever lost in my life. Because I never really made much money. Everything was like a bet or a reinvestment, like I never really made much money. So losing that amount of money was devastating. I cried
Yeah.
and cried and cried and hyperventilated and cried. And it wasn't even so much like the pandemic, it was just like, like when your heart and soul's in something. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um did that top of the pandemic, and then was like consulting throughout the like 2020. And then I just texted Brandon around my birthday in May, and I was like, yo, I kind of want to start a label. And he was like, I was like, you want to do it with me? He was like, yup. He's like, what you want to call it? And I was like, let's call it Build Your Own Dreams. That's what's on my knuckles, BYOD.
Hey, let's go. Love
And
what y'all are
he,
doing. Love what y'all are doing. Just saying. Just saying. We're going to get more
thank
into
you,
it.
for sure. And he was like, bet. And then, like, 10 minutes later, I got a calendar invite for Build Your Own Dreams planning meeting. And I was like, this my nigga. Like,
We
you know what I'm
doing
saying?
this.
Like, he just was immediately. And yeah, so we started Build Your Own Dreams as a record label in 2020. We launched in September 2020. And we've pivoted pretty much every 6 to 9 months since then. So it became a marketing, branding thing. Then it was a management firm, kind of at the same time. The whole time we've been building and scaling events, festivals, dinner parties now are what we're into. Yeah, so now it's just a hub, it's a community building organization, and wherever we want to iterate. So we've made grills, we make merchandise. Um, yeah, we're about to get into being restaurateurs. Yeah, all the things.
What?
So moving
Restaurant
on, thank you for
tours.
listening.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
because I'm a foodie and branding is definitely for sure. That's another thing that we really rock on. So, yeah, so there's lots of cool things coming this year, lots of cool things already happening. But tap in. Like, if you ever want to see Black dreamers just do whatever they want, last year was a really rough year for me. This is conclusion, I promise you. It was a really rough year for me, and I had a big moment of realizing that I was doing dream adjacent things, but not actually my dream. I had taken the concept and started running with other people's dreams because I'm a nurturer and I love people and I love my artists. And so I was just watering so many other people's soil, and I was starving and in a drought, and just really confused. Went through potential, like somebody tried to sue us, somebody else threatened to sue us. Several artists didn't pay us. We lost a lot. I got doxxed by two different people groups. It was rough. Last year was super rough, super rough. And as a company, we lost $250,000 across all of that. So that's 10 times what I lost in 2020. And yeah, so it was a really soul searching moment. Um, I had learned a lot since 2020 though, because I had insulated myself. So even though worst business year yet, had to lay off 8 staff members, stepped back and gave back all my shares to the booking agency as well as Brandon, just not affiliated with them or that anymore. It was a very rough year, but yeah, personally, I had the best financial year, even though it was the most heartbreaking year, and had to learn a lot. So I'm just grateful. I make a lot of my money consulting, another portion of it teaching, another portion of it doing podcast. So I get to basically explain my experience to the world and help people avoid or navigate in a similar manner depending on what they're looking for. So yeah, I'm me for a living, and that includes what I just did just now. I just kind of ramble out my thoughts and hope it helps somebody.
Yes, I know it is helping, and I'm sure it resonates with so many people. Whew, speaking my language, I feel like 2023, even for me, was like a year of like, I felt like I was in a valley, okay? And I'm coming out of it though.
I was in hell, act like
Whew.
hell. Like I'm sure it could have been worse, but I couldn't imagine it have been worse. It was trash, absolute trash.
So,
Me and Big G had terrible conversations every day. I wanted to fight him. I was like, just come down here. Let's tussle.
your resilience and I know you have been building for such a long time between all these different ventures, and it's so inspiring. I truly believe we are multifaceted souls on this planet. I don't believe, oh, I have to just do this. No, I can do this and be that and this and that and that and that. So when people ask me what I do, I'm like, look, how much time do you have? Cause so no, super appreciate you sharing your like just like the journey to get here with us and diving into more of build your own dreams. And I know you touched on the podcast as well. And I feel like if it wasn't Twitter, it had to have been like a podcast clip of yours with Music Entrepreneur Club, and I follow Dame as well. So, and I got to meet him in New York last year. So I was like already seeing you around. So I love that you share so many gems. Like all of those conversations, like I learned so much, especially as someone who is coming into it pretty green in so many areas and learning like as an artist manager, as an A&R, like what is the music business? I love marketing, come from that, but there's still so much for me to learn too. So being able to like have someone that like looks like me, yes, y'all, looks like me, who has like had this journey you are, thriving, you're building, you're learning, you're growing, and you're still doing it. You're doing so many great things that I've been seeing. And I love that you share so many gems with us. So y'all, just so you know, if you're not tapped in with Erinn, please do that. And yes, check her out. So, in terms of the podcasting, how did you kind of get your start there? How did that originally come together? Was that an avenue that you knew, like, hey, I want to do a podcast of my own someday? Or was it like it just kind of aligned from the relationships that had been built?
Yeah, I think um I can't quite remember which came first, like my desire to podcast or an opportunity to podcast. I'm a fan of conversations, and I've been listening to podcasts for uh a decade and a half. I used to go on websites in the RSS feed, and listen to them. So like before, like I remember
Yep.
I used to listen to podcasts. I met my lawyer, my first ever lawyer, and he's still one of we still work with him, and we work with his firm. He's one of three lawyers we have now, which is a blessing. But I found him by listening to a podcast from a guy named Michael Brandvold back in, I think, 2010 or 2011, and I just like reached out. So I've always been a fan of podcasts. I've always loved like NPR. I'm just a fan of people's voices and tone and intonation and how much that tells you about someone and what they're passionate about. The first sound that we hear is our mother's voice pitched down. So, yeah, I've always loved sound and conversation. And so in 2020, Dame was going to interview one of my artists, and he missed the interview because I was like, Dame hit my artist, and then the artist was like, "Can you make sure we set this up? Can you get it on my calendar, whatever?" And then day of, I'm like, "Hey, you're supposed to be on in 10 minutes. Are you ready? Are you set up?" And he was like, "Oh shoot, can you see if we can reschedule?" And Dame at the time was going live on Twitch via BeatStars. And so it wasn't like oh, let's reschedule. Like everybody was just, so I just texted him like, hey, I mean, it actually that time I think it was like an hour ahead. I'm like, hey, my artist is gonna miss. He said he's out and about, he forgot, yada yada yada. I'm like, if you need me to, I can hop on. And he was like, no, I think I have a backup, don't worry about it. Let's just reschedule for a week from now or something like that. We rescheduled. My artist did the same thing. So he was like, yeah, you can jump on now. So I hop on, and he interviews me for like an hour and doesn't really have any context for me. I had been following Dane for years, but he didn't have any context for me. So we just did the hour-long interview. And he was just like looking at me kind of weird and asking me a lot of questions. And then we hopped off, and he texted me and was like, yo, would you be interested in joining the podcast and the platform? Like, we need some young blood. A woman in the mix would be really dope. He's like, I can tell you have a lot of experience and you've done a lot of things. And, a lot of people kind of blow smoke, but he's like, I can tell you have your own perspective. So I was like, yeah, I'm super down. And so at that time, him and Payne were getting paid to do this stuff with BeatStars, but nobody was paying us to do the podcast. So I was just podcasting. At that time, I think they had done like 90 or something straight weeks podcast, holiday, whatever they had just recorded. And so I loved that they were like so consistent. So I think I joined like right around the 100th episode or just past the 100th episode. And then we stopped officially the MEC podcast, I think at 200. So I was on for the next 100 because we got acquired by Radio, which is Issa Rae's company, because they were trying to transition into the music education space. So then we took some time off, but there was still like a demand for what we were doing because we did that I was on from 20, like mid 2020 through 2023. And so there was just some demand there. So we just restarted it. as at odds podcast at the top of this year. So it's the same thing. We still post on that page
Yeah.
because they haven't really done much with it. We're kind of in conversations to see if we can get it back because it's just, people acquire stuff and they have a good idea and then things change. It's no hard feelings. And shout out to radio. Glad to be a part of the family. They send us cool merch. And I get to go to the
Fire.
offices occasionally. You know what I'm saying? So it's all love. It's cool. Like I got to meet a lot of really cool people through this situation, but it hasn't really gone from there. But after I started with that, I was just into it. So
Yeah.
I like forced my business partner to start one with us. It's called the How to Build Our Own Dreams podcast. So I do that one. And
Yes,
then
I
with one
love
of the
it.
artists that I had one more with another artist that I used to manage called the Winner's Circle, and it was just about me, her, and her day-to-day manager, and her, like women in the music industry, our faith journey, our thought process. That is now defunct because I no longer work with that artist, but it was a great one season, and we got just so much love from that one
I caught
season.
so many of the episodes. I love what
Yeah,
that, and that's like really what cemented me as like, yo, I just wanna, y'all, I'm trying to be more like Erinn, okay, in my life. But no,
not at
I
all.
love, no, yes, yes, I'm giving you all of your flowers, just so you
Thank you.
know, which is why I brought you on, like, had to have this conversation with you. And I know it's proven very valuable to the audience. So, y'all, I know there's a lot of people streaming from Twitter. Y'all, let me
You
know
don't
in the
have to call it
comments.
Twitter for me.
No,
Say
I'm
what you
calling.
want.
I'm calling
You
Twitter.
like to call it
It's.
X.
Oh,
Don't
I
let me guilt
don't.
you.
I don't. I'm
Don't
just
let
trying. I just keep seeing the X right there in front of me. So I'm like, I keep seeing it on my screen. But yeah, y'all, drop some comments so I can see who's here. I can't really tell. I can see y'all on IG though. Thank y'all for the love. But no, it's so great to hear more about your podcasting experience. I love all the episodes that I've been able to catch from these different ventures that you've been going on and the spaces that you've brought to life to have more conversations that honestly needed to be had, like in so many ways. And y'all, especially with Music Entrepreneur Club and everything that you're doing, all of y'all consistently just dropping so many gems that people need to hear. So
Thank
love
you.
it,
I
love it.
appreciate it because I feel like people don't they're all very different. Like Music Entrepreneur Club is way more like music business conversations.
Yep.
I'm always gonna bring emotion to it and I'm always going to bring myself because I don't silo. So it's very like business, like what's going on, the nitty-gritty of the business. But then the How to Build Your Own Dreams podcast is me and Brandon just talking through our ups and downs as business owners. And then we just, we started second season interviewing other minority business owners that we really admire and just, like learning, you know what I'm saying? And then the winner's circle was just purely like, how do we see the world as women? What are our experiences? We dip into the music industry, but it's like, I feel like the How to Build Your Own Dreams podcast is kind of in the middle. It's like life lessons and business lessons. And then, Winner Circle was more like life and whatever. Music entrepreneurs slash at odds is more business. But yeah, like my desire is to own podcast network.
So cool.
I have so many podcasts that I've like started developing. Like I have this one called A Podcast for Adults to Fall Asleep to, and it's where I used to deal with a lot of anxiety, and so at night is when I would get the most anxious, but I didn't have anybody to, like, when work would stop and I didn't have to be on. I was like, oh, just me by myself, and there it was hard for me to go to sleep, and so my therapist was like, what helps you when you get anxious like that? And I'm like, just having a conversation with somebody or like somebody talking me down. And she was like, but it's always at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So she was like, talk to yourself. So then I started recording a lot of voice notes, and then it turned into something that I shot. I have a whole cover and everything. I just never released it because I felt like I got a little too vulnerable. I was like, I don't know if y'all need to know me like that. But yeah, I have so many dope
That's
podcasts.
okay.
I
You don't
think,
got to put
you know
it
what I'm
out right
saying?
away. You don't got to put it out right
Yeah,
away. I believe in
yeah,
video diaries. I have so many of them, just like they might never come out. That's for me, y'all. But
yeah.
no, like I love it. I love it. I love how it's all coming together and all things are gonna align. No, you inspired me to get into my little podcast game. Everyone always asks me,
Do it.
Jazz, start a podcast. You should start a podcast. I'm like, y'all, I am going to do it. So this is my year. I'm already planting the seeds for that. But no, I love conversations, and I love people who also love conversations. So yeah, we've been kind of weaving into my questions pretty seamlessly. I love this. I love this. Also, too, I know experiential marketing, experience design, you curate incredible events as well for
Thank you.
within music, for the community. Like, I know you touch into like music festivals as well and bringing these innovative brand and fan experiences to life. What excites you the most about kind of like the experience marketing? Because like that's where I love too. I love it. And can't wait to talk more about this. And kind of like the experiences that you and your team curate for fans, other consumers, and I'm sure you work with brands as well too.
I love connection, which is why I like conversation. So I like facilitating those connections. And I love like seeing magic in people's eyes. And I love being able to be the catalyst or the conduit to for that magic. And so yeah, that's what to me experience design is really a lot more like intuitive and empathic than it is about like vibrato, because a lot of brands like to be like, we're gonna have Lil Wayne come and skateboard in, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, like, and I love Lil Wayne, but what's something that doesn't have to be celebrity driven? What's something so in tune with the culture that the culture doesn't even know that they want it, but when you present it, they're like, this makes sense, you know? And
Yep.
so I love intertwining cultures and things that people like and love and enjoy. Atlanta is such an eclectic city, and if you don't know it, you just think it's about hip hop, you know, and lemon pepper wings, and it's like
Lemon
we love
pepper
all of that.
wings.
You know what I'm saying? We love all of that, but it's so much. You know, like like I grew up listening to Paramore and, you know, Fred Hammond and Andre 3000, and you know what I'm saying, and like, you know, it's just like, and I like longboarding and like
Yep.
playing basketball, and it's just like it's an eclectic city, and so I think that I bring that eclecticness to our events. I really love studying humans and sociology, so I like to see what makes people tick, but I like to create spaces for belonging. And you know, everybody's talking about third spaces right now, which is cool, and I love it because it needs to happen. Like people need a place to go,
Yeah.
but I love being able to temporarily bring you there where you don't have to pretend and put on, where you can enjoy yourself and find belonging. But I like to create a culture around my events where people want to come back to the events. So we've seen a lot of success in different regions, whether it be concerts or whatever. Like I used to put my concerts on sale, and the pre-sales would sell out before I would announce artists because people just knew I was going to curate well. And so now with our events, yeah, we're intentional. They're very small now. Like we're doing 30 to 70 people max, and just intentional about building around what's needed. You know, I tell people I'm building the future of space, but I live on Earth. So that means that I'm here to translate what space is. So by the time you get there, I've already created what you need when you get there, you know? And so I think that requires a lot of patience and study and understanding of people and culture. So yeah, experience design for me is all about connection. It's all about meeting needs. I want to meet some needs that you know you have and others that you haven't realized you had yet. And you know, just be a part of changing somebody's mindset or understanding. When people say they don't like something or they're not into that, it's usually a matter of ignorance, not actually disdain. And so I want to introduce things to you and invigorate you in a way that you're like, I never knew I wanted this, but now I'm so glad I'm here.
I love that. What has been one of the favorite events that you have
I'm
curated?
so glad you asked that.
That's like naturally. I'm like, I don't even have these one questions written down. I'm like, naturally, I just need to know. What have been some of the ones that have like lit you up? Because I love brand activations, experience design. Like, yes, I've gotten to work on a lot of cool things in the past. So I'm like, yo, you speak my language with everything you were saying about belonging, connection, feeling. Like I go back to those three things, like in marketing and all the facets of what like we do. like it's all about, I say people, community might be today's buzzword, y'all, but at the end of the day, that's
It is what it
been, it's
is.
been since the dawn of time. Villages, tribes, and community. It's not going
It's
anywhere.
like love. Like love is never gonna go out of style. You know what I'm
No,
saying? So it's like community is never not gonna be it. Um, yeah, okay, so there's one I can't talk about because it just got litigated.
no, you're good.
I won, but I'm legally not supposed to talk about it anymore. But if you go back and look, I have a course, a free course about experience design that I did with Zoo Labs. And the course is literally like 20 minutes long, y'all. And it's broken up into like 6 videos. So don't miss it. Like those is free. So that it talks about it there. There's a lot of there's evidence of it everywhere. But it was one of it's the first event that I ever it's the first party I ever threw. I never threw parties before then. And it's like I'm not a big partier, so I had to throw a party for me. And that's when I was like, oh, this is experience design. Because, folks be talking like, oh, experience designer. I'm like, you had an ice sculpture that y'all spent $15,000 for
Ice
in the coach
sculpture.
in the corner. And I'm not
Just
hating on
no,
nobody, but
just the lack of thought,
yeah.
the lack of
And then
connection
there's
to
another
culture.
one.
Look,
There's another one that I don't want to give any more light to because they got it, but I'm not going to keep shining a light on it. You know what I'm saying? But right now, man, okay, so I'll tell you one, an old one, and then I'll tell you one the two right
let's
now that
do
we're doing.
it.
I'll keep it short. So we during like right when the restrictions in Atlanta were a little bit more lifted, it was probably like yeah, like the summer of 21. I just wanted to see people. I wanted to do stuff outside. Me and my friends have been doing like a lot of these like porch hangouts and whatnot. And so I did this event with a nonprofit organization in Atlanta, and we basically went to like a historic house in Atlanta that has a really big lawn in the backyard. And it was called Articue. So it was like art barbecue. So I had local Atlanta artists give me three of their prints. And then we got a coloring book printed that we gave to everybody. And we had crayons. And we just told everybody to bring their blankets out. And you could sit on the lawn and we'd all color together. And we
Oh,
had a vegan
that's so cool.
barbecue truck that was supposed to pull up, but then they got COVID that day. So they couldn't come. And then we had a regular barbecue truck pull up, and then we had a couple of artists perform. And the whole time there was one of the artists who contributed, her name was Yanni Mo. She had built these big stage, like she had just, she had these huge slabs of wood that she had like painted and designed. And yeah, people just came. I had like hula hoops out. I had, just like all sorts of like giant games outside. And I'm like, really interested in people connecting with the funnest parts of themselves, which tends to be what people call their inner child. But I also feel like youthfulness is for everybody. It's not, but yeah. So like anything that's like fun, play, restful, I'm really into that. So that was that. And we did that 2021. But right now, Brandon and I have this thing called Club Itis, and it's dinner parties that we're really focused on building out just a really in depth, intricate experience. And so we had this one that we had been thinking about for like 4 or 5 months called Trapper Thai, which is trap music, Thai food, but an ode to Jeezy's Trapper Die because
That's
I'm
so
from Atlanta.
cool.
So, so we've been thinking about it, and then we found a really cool spot in Austin. We announced it, and then Jeezy announced his tiny desk the very next day. And I was like, the timing was
That
perfect.
alignment. Woof.
So he released his the tiny desk maybe like it ended up coming out like 5 days before the event. So we just started advertising that at the event we'd also do like a or like a party to watch Jeezy's tiny desk. So we have a good relationship with a Thai chef in Austin. So her and her husband came and cooked it. We rented this really beautiful home, and we sold like 35 tickets. We just had a ton of top shelf liquor. We hired a really nice bartender, and we just giving people like all of these incredible drinks and Thai food small plates, and it was just like unlimited food, unlimited drinks, and we just hung out, and it was just like a really beautiful, beautiful experience. Lots of beautiful Black people hanging out, getting to know each other. Just like it wasn't a dinner party; it was like an elevated hang, because we
Yeah,
served dinner, but we did it as small plates because we didn't have
I
enough
love
seating for
that.
everybody in the home, and like that's the type of shit I want to do. I'm in my 30s now. I want to drink. If
Sign
I'm
me
going to
up.
drink, I want to drink good alcohol, and then I want to be home by like 11:30. I'm still not going to go to bed till 3, but I don't want to be around y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
No,
just,
thank you.
yeah. And so then, like, when we were doing that and the tickets were selling well, even it's an expensive ticket, not that high, but it's like $55 to come to those events. But it's like you're going to spend that if you go out easily. And we're doing top shelf and you're getting food, and it's like a vibe. So we were planning another one that's in relation to what I'm doing here in Nashville that I don't want to fully say on like a super live platform. But we were like, yo, let's do this thing like that's a celebration of like black people, black folk, like country Americana folk, like whatever. This is before the Grammys, right? And I'm like, this shit is gonna be crazy because I see Beyonce pull up and the cowboy hat. I'm like, I texted my business partner that night. I'm like, Beyonce's gonna drop a country album. Watch. He was like, that would be crazy because it's not just this event, but we're working on several in that vein. And so we were like, let's call it Yeehaw. We want everybody to
Mm.
come, like wearing, their cowboy boots, whatever. So we found a farm in Austin. We rented it. I kid you not, like clockwork. Beyonce drops her album announcement, on the Super Bowl, and we
Yeah.
had already planned on. That was the day after we had, or like a couple days after we had dropped. We had actually done Trapper Tie. I was in Austin, flew back to Nashville, and watching the Super Bowl. She announces her thing, but we already had the date. We already knew we were gonna do Yeehaw. We already had the date. We had booked the venue. So then she announces her album. We announced Yeehaw, and we're like, we're gonna do it. The wild thing is, we were planning on doing it on like the 30th or 31st, which is a Friday or a Saturday. When she announced her album was dropping on the 29th, we just slid it back and we made it a
Mm.
midnight dinner. So now we're going to do a first listen of Act Two. So Yeehaw is happening in Austin next weekend on the 28th. So as soon as it hits 11, because it's Central Time, 11 in Austin, we're going to be doing a first listen to Act Two. We have a mac and cheese bar by a local chef who has like
What?
smoked brisket,
Okay.
smoked meats. We have a flash tattoo artist coming out to do yeehaw tattoos. They have goats on the farm. We have a custom hat maker. We have somebody coming to teach trail ride and like line dances. The joint's just gonna be crazy. And it's like we're only selling 70 tickets and we have 19 left right now.
Oh,
So it's like it's a really like
y'all
the
get
shit
your
is so cool.
tickets. If you're
Yeah.
in the Austin, Houston, Dallas area in Texas, I would get there. I did
Pull
see
up.
the flyer for that, and I was like, yo,
I
that's
need to
so
post it on
cool.
Twitter. I haven't posted on
Post
Twitter,
that on
but
Twitter.
yeah,
Post it.
yeah.
Post it on Twitter. You had me at the goats. Okay.
I love
I
goats.
I love goats too, y'all. I was like, I live in a lot of people do know this because I talk about it, but I live in the mountains, so like I have
What's
the
up?
mountains like right outside my window. Deer visit my yard. And like, look, the only thing I need is more farm animals, but I gotta wait until I get my own ranch. So if I could, and I had all the coins I want, I would have goats running around here, chickens, ducks, pet pig. Look, farm girl. Yes, I love it. It sounds like it's gonna be such a fun time, and I wish I was gonna be there because that's my type of event. We need more of exactly what you're doing. So see, such a trailblazer. This is why Erinn is on today's conversation. There are 100 people in here
Yo,
on.
you killing it.
Let's go.
Okay, Jack.
What is so crazy about this coming together is like I was just like, I love to like meditate and do yoga, and that's really where I just like zen in and like figure out like all my ideas. And this one came to life, and I was just like, I feel like this series is gonna be something that's good. And like I just was like, I think when I messaged you, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait and do this like in Q2. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna start it now. It's Women's Her Story Month. We need to amplify a conversation today or
Uh-huh.
soon. So I was like, let me make it happen. Let me just say yes and start it. So I love being able to just like learn so much more about you. Like, I've been able to get like little glimpses and clips here and there, but to be able to have you come on and share your story, thank you. So impactful. And I know it's going to resonate with so many other people. Like I come across people people will message me and they'll just like talk about like what I'm doing and how much the work that I'm doing resonates with them because they want to do like whether it's like A&R, artist management, or marketing in these different forms. And I'm just like, we need more of these conversations. So y'all, you can hear it is possible. This has been a journey for sure, but you are doing so many impactful things just all the way around. So
it's super possible. It's not always fun and it's rough. Like I had to fight through the depths of despair last year to get here. And I've had ups for sure before, but to be here and for real, like I don't get out the bed unless I'm excited. And I don't leave my house unless you're paying me. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like I just and I'm so grateful for that. Like it's like, but it took, I've been in this industry, it'll be 13 years in September. So I don't want anybody to think it's like, oh damn, this shit is so fun. It's tough. I write my own rules now because I put in the time and I do have like gratefully several streams of income and more to come. So I work way less than I used to and make way more. But I don't really work much anymore. And the moment it starts to feel like work, I'm like, let me go find a consulting job or let me go teach a course because I didn't really sign up to work anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like preparing myself to be passenger princess real soon. So like I'm just working my way out of work. Like if it takes too much effort at this point in my life, I'm just not into it. That's a privilege. I just want to say that. I don't want everybody to think that this is everybody's reality. It can be though. Like I focused on this for a really long time and grateful to God that it is starting to become, it is my reality now, and just more and more will be more of my reality.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing that too. I tweet about this all the time, like just the realities of like I tweet it all like I at least once a week. I'm like just like this brick by brick, step by step, day by day. It's like this reminder one to myself, like the journey, y'all, that it takes, like especially as like working with like the artists and working with creatives and we're like whether you do podcasting or you're an artist selling your art online or like no matter what avenue, like as you're building these creative businesses, like it is hard.
Tough.
Okay, especially starting out. And like because my agency is it's such a baby and I'm so grateful for it because like I'm truly building it, build your own dreams. That's what I'm doing over here. And a lot of tears, y'all. I cry at least once a week about something. But I'm gonna be honest.
It's so necessary. The tears are watering the garden that's bringing everything that you need to nourish what you're growing.
1000%. But I just believe like if you have a vision, it's there for a reason. And it's crazy too, because in my life, like I've kind of shied away from all of these other things, like whether it's like creating content or like writing, like all these other avenues I used to do and went away from. And now I'm like full circle going back to those passions. I'm just like, you're called to things for a reason. Do it. It's possible. And look, y'all, it's possible because there are incredible people that we see who have done it. So I love that you shine a light on like, yo, it is not easy, but look, if you believe in something, don't ever stop. Don't ever stop. I just truly believe you only fail if you decide to quit. So
correct.
That's my life motto for real. So no, thank you so much for sharing all of this. One of my last questions before we go into a little Q&A and let some people from the community ask some questions. So if you are streaming from Twitter, if you're streaming from Instagram, I can see the comments come in. So if you do have a question, You can go ahead and enter it in, especially if you're on Twitter. I can actually show them on the screen. So recommend that you put them in the comments. If you have a question for Erinn that you want her
So
to
is this
answer.
like a video on Twitter right now? I just need to understand this.
Yes, it's a
I
video
didn't
on
know
Twitter.
I didn't know it could do that.
I didn't know it could do that either until I came across this platform, and I had actually, it's for like another brand. It was for like an accountant brand that I was like watching a webinar and they used this platform. And then I saw, I believe Two Loss switched over to StreamYard too
Yeah.
for their stuff. So then I was just like, okay, I'm gonna try this out because I actually had another platform I was using end of last year called Session, but they got acquired from another company. And then I was like, I'm just gonna, while I have to look, let me just see what else is
Yeah.
out there. So I
We
like
used
this
to use
one.
StreamYard when we would do the Twitches. Like we would
Yep.
stream, we'd use StreamYard, and then for our podcast now, Dane uses Riverside, which I'm surprised that he went back to StreamYard. But I guess it's because the aspect of being able to send it everywhere. I just
Yeah.
didn't realize it could go to Twitter. That's wild. I didn't know that like there was video, live video. Anyways, shout out to
I
y'all.
didn't
Shout out to you.
either. But I was like, look, if I can just do it all on all platforms with a click of a button, I'm a girl of convenience. I will pay for it. Okay. But yeah, no, we are live on Twitter too, which is crazy. Hi y'all. All right. So one of my last questions for you was about South by Southwest. I know heavily involved on the ground there and had some really cool events that came to life with Podcast House. So wanted to kind of chat more about your experience at South by this year. Anything that you learned, any cool takeaways you want to share with our community, and how the Podcast House events came to life this year.
Yeah, just for clarity, I don't work officially with South by, so I don't want B Hobbs coming after me if he's watching this. Big respect, B Hobbs, what they do. They need to call me. But no, there's a good relationship there. We tried to do something last year and it got you know, somebody, we'll say, for lack of a better phrase, acquired what we were building. So I was like, cool, you got it. But it's cool because it led to what we're doing this year. But yeah, I've been going to South by since 2015 when I was working with the rock band. We went 2015 and 2015. I was like, what is this magical world? This place is crazy. 2016, we had kind of figured it out. So we had a lot more showcases. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And in 2016, I was like, I'm not going back until I'm throwing my own showcase. So then in 2018, I'm working in hip hop music. I throw my first showcase at an art gallery, super sick. We had artists like Sayanka. I don't know if y'all know her. She's out of South Carolina. You got to check her out. She's blowing up right now.
Yes, I am
Her
tapped in.
She's
Love her
amazing. I
stuff.
love her, but I booked her in 2018. Like, I can tell y'all
Inspire.
so many stories of people who are like, I booked Russ for shows in Atlanta. I booked Pierre Bourne for shows at. I'm just I could tell y'all some crazy people who are like, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, 2018 was killer, and then after that, I met my business partner Brandon that year, and he was throwing 5 different shows, and I met him leaving one of his shows because I pulled up to meet like a sponsor or whatever, and he had been helping out with that show, and he handed me a flyer on one side with two shows, and the other side with 2 more shows, and I was like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "Let me get your phone number because if you throw in four more shows this week, you the one." And yeah, tap in
Yeah.
with him. So I can't take credit for South by. I go back every year. We've produced shows for countless brands and people now since 2019. Obviously 2020 they took off. I think they took off 21 too. And then when we came back in 22, we threw the only all R&B show that they had. They had never had a full R&B lineup. Now everybody's doing it. Saying trailblazer. But
That's why
we
you're
threw
here.
the only all R&B showcase with one of our sponsors at the time. And yeah, so it's been cool. We're very much now, we're not asking. So if it takes too much effort, and we want people to approach us,
Right.
but let me say we do ask. We'll ask. We want you to approach us, but if not, we'll ask. If you say no or make us beg, we just gonna do it outside of you. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, we applied to speak at South by this year. We were trying to go a different route. We're not really trying to. I get tired of the showcases. Shout out to everybody doing showcases. But again, I've been going since 2016, 2015, whatever. And showcases, and it used to be like rock music. Da, da, da. Now it's just a bunch of fucking hip hop showcases. Sorry, I'm probably not supposed to curse. It's a lot
You
of
good.
hip hop showcases, and shout out to hip hop. But I'm like, I just don't want. So we were just trying to find a new vein. We were presenting a thing about mental health. They didn't accept it, which is cool. I'm not salty there. I'm just saying we still gonna do something. If you tell
Right.
us no, so Brandon is like the mayor of Austin, super connected. He found a really cool venue called Daydreamer. It's a house right on East 6th Street. And obviously, name alignment because we're built on dreams is Daydreamer, and it was a house. And so we podcasted on the front porch of the house. It's a really cool bar. They do champagne and caviar service there, and then they have wood fire pizza in the back, and you can get a bump of caviar on your pizza. It's amazing, but super dope venue. They showed us a ton of love. Shout out to Daydreamer. If you're in Austin, go to Daydreamer. Great drinks, great bar staff, really beautiful. So we did it there, and our thing was we had reached out to a lot of people that we work with podcast wise, like our distributor, our mic company, all that. And a lot of people were like, "Man, this is super cool, but not for us right now." And again, we'll ask you, but we're not begging. We still gonna do it. So we did it as a soft launch instead of a full day, even because we were planning on doing like multiple days. We wanted to do like, tech track, education, and music, and then end it with a small performance. But none of our sponsors came through, so we just did it for 6 hours. We brought Dame to do his independent living podcast. Me and Brendan did, and he interviewed Dende. Me
Yep.
and Brandon did our How to Build Your Own Dreams podcast, and we interviewed our homies from 24/7 artists, so Udo and V and their whole team, and then for the students is a organization owned by Ogden Payne in Austin that helps Black and brown students get into the music industry in non-traditional manners, so you don't have to go to school, but he's giving you resources and to get in on the executive level. And so
Wow.
they co-presented it with us. And so he interviewed one of his professors, Philip Payne, who used to manage, like Tory Lanez and worked with Ilmore, Scoremore, all that. And so he interviewed him because he teaches now at one of the HBCUs. He manages like a lot of people. He has Field Trip. He's just a cool dude. I don't want to talk about just his old wins. He's like really relevant. Piff Marty is one of his artists right now. And so he interviewed him. And then at the
Love
end,
Piff. Love
don't
Piff.
you? And Piff pulled up and showed so much love. And then at the end, we presented a panel with him, and we had Dre from the Digilog, and we were just like, "This is how we got into the music industry. What are your questions?" And it was cool. Our focus was just to get the content and get the proof of concept. A lot of times, what I'm doing the first year or two is people say, "You can't do that," or "Why would you do that?" I do it, and then when they finally figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
I sell it back to them at 3, 4, 5 times the rate, or I'll keep it and you can just sponsor. But that's typically the formula. So when they didn't get on board, we shot it. We were like, we don't care if anybody comes. We just want the content, which is going to be
Right.
rolling out soon. But people showed love. People pulled up. People came and drank, hung out, and it was a warm day in Austin. So it was beautiful. We got a lot of sun, a lot of good content, and a lot of great conversation. So yeah, shout out to Podcast House. You'll be seeing it again and again and again and again, Lord willing. This
Yes.
is the first year.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to see more of the content that's going to come out from everything that y'all captured, but you're doing it. And like,
Thank you.
as to be expected, it was going to be a success. So, but no, I'm so happy
We take
for
L's on this side. I'm not even gonna
I
hold you. I be take we I take L's. But here's the thing, it takes two L's to
I'm
make
so
a
happy
W.
that you
You know what I'm
speak on
saying?
them
So
too.
it's like I don't believe that failure is bad. Like failure, I don't see it as like I'm not scared to fail. Failure has no negative connotation to me because you gotta like mess up to get right. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm just not somebody who's bothered by that, but I don't ever want to represent. Some people just be showing their highlight reel. I have whole ass podcasts where like, especially with Brandon last year, where I'm so depressed and it really was going through stuff. I like stopped crying off camera just enough to get on camera, and I'm telling him in the moment, like I don't even want to do this anymore, you know, like, and I'm telling him stuff that I haven't told him while we're filming. You know, like there's a lot of the first episode of the How to Build Your Own Dreams podcast was like right after we took the biggest L that we had ever taken traveling to go do something. I thought we were gonna like we were like, yeah, we're gonna have a killer day and then go record. We record that podcast an hour later and I'm like still processing it. In the process of that, our car gets broken into. We were in a rental and it gets broken into in freaking LA. So I'm saying like we be taking listen, I don't we
Yeah.
be taking L's. I take L's. But it's just part of the process for me. I don't love it. I'm not even being like, oh, I just love this. It's just like it is what it is. Like at this point, I'm built for this and I know it. So I just gotta keep going.
Exactly. Keep going. Man, those L's, y'all. Life is a series of learning lessons, tests. I feel like I'm tested all the time, y'all. Wait, every day, honestly, in some way. But it's cool. It's
I'm not
cool.
there no more. I can't handle the day.
See, I'm still in
I
a low on
I
test for
pray.
me.
I feel like it's in cycles, so I'm not saying that it won't come back. Lord, I hope not. But it was like that. It was like I was getting 10, 15 tests a day. And I was like, Lord, can I have a break? And I prayed that for several months. And I feel like God is giving me reprieve right now because I couldn't. I was losing hope and I'm full of hope. So for me to lose hope, I was like, I don't even know who I am at this point.
Uh, yeah, no, I feel you. You continue to inspire me because there have been still like some days I have those days of like, oof, I don't know today, like, and like I know like because of who I am, like I'm unstoppable. Anything I set my mind to, I will accomplish because that's how relentless I truly am as a human. But there are still some days of
But you
like,
still be there. Yeah.
but you still be there, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, yo, so you have been one of the people of my list of like, I know it's possible because people are doing it, so we just gonna keep going. So
Damn, that feels so good to hear that. Thank you for saying that. Like
yeah,
literally, that's amazing. Cause you know, and this is no shot to anybody, and I know we gotta wrap up. But you know, like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you're so inspirational," and I'm grateful. Any type of encouragement from anybody, I'm super grateful. But when people aren't really like moving in a direction and they tell you like you inspire them, it's like inspire you to do you know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
like it's almost like I'm entertaining or like, oh, this is intriguing. You're so inspiring. But when somebody is actually also in process and saying that I'm helping them continue, man, that means a lot because it helps me say, you know, like that's for me. Like last year, I had this moment where I was talking to my therapist and I was like, I want to quit, but nobody around me will let me. And she chuckled and I was like, ain't that some shit? Like I was just like, you like I I'm gonna sit here and cry about it, and I'm gonna wait. I'm not somebody who's gonna keep. I don't. I have to cry. I have to grieve. I have to get upset about it because
yep,
that's how I move through it. Honestly, I'm not the type to be like it's fine. It's fine. I don't do that. So for me in that moment, I was upset because I was like, my community cares too much about the purpose that's inside of me for me to actually be able to quit. So it's like, yeah, I can figure this out. There's space for me to reinvent myself, but
yeah,
I'm insulated because I've for so long put forth what I believed that the everybody around me is so hell bent on me succeeding that it's no possibility of me not going in that direction, and that's a blessing, but that's because everybody around me is on the same course. Let one of my niggas say they're gonna quit. Okay, so you can take today off, take a month off. I'll call you in 31 days and we'll figure out what, you know what I'm saying. And so like
Yeah.
that's how my community rolls, and I'm super duper grateful for it. But I was very intentional in building that, and it took a long time to get here. And so sometimes people are like, how do you just keep, I'm like, I don't know. Like I put up 1,000 shots a day, so even on
Mhm.
my off days 100 shots just feels like rest, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's just our norm at this point, you know. So like even when I'm talking about I'm myself for a living, and like I don't, I'm not moving unless it's money, and I wake up when I, you know what I'm saying, like that didn't come without sacrifice, work, effort, care, accountability, you know what I'm saying. It was a lot of shit that it took to get there, but is I don't know if it's worth it yet. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if it's worth it yet. I don't know. Like last year, it definitely didn't feel worth it. Right now, it feels like I'm getting a break from it's not worth it, and I hear it's supposed to be worth it, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see.
No, I feel you on that. Look, just know I'm so grateful for you like coming on. I got one more question. Y'all, if you do have a question for
Damn,
Erinn
nobody's asking questions. They on their best.
or
They're like, she needs to
myself,
shut up. I'm done.
nah, this is good. This is good. I have one more question for you. And if anyone does have a question for Erinn, myself, go ahead and put them in the comments. You can put them on IG as well. I'm able to see the comments and the love coming in. I wish I could pull in the StreamYard, but that's okay. But yeah, if you do have a question, go ahead, put them in the comments. And yeah, I'll make sure we can answer them. If not, look, I
Is
got one more
nobody saying
question.
anything? Is it all bots? That's crazy.
Is it
I'm
all
joking. I'm joking.
bots?
I'm
Are
joking. I'm
y'all
joking.
real out there in the universe?
Damn.
Y'all are retweeting it though, so there's
Okay.
definitely people.
Shout out to
Um,
that.
but yeah, I see Instagram. There have been some comments. Let's go. People were talking about resonating with the lows and the highs. So I see the love coming in on IG. Appreciate y'all being here. And if you're catching the replay, but yeah, no, some things have pulled through. So it's working. It's working. But one
Yeah.
more question. We've been on here for a little bit chatting, and this has been such a great conversation. So kind of to wrap things up, let's just do like one or two pieces, gems of actionable advice that you would give to artists, creatives, entrepreneurs who are pursuing a career in music or other ventures. So I know you're well connected with the youth as well too,
The
and
youth.
the youth, yes, which I freaking love. Like we gotta show them what's possible and what's available and helping them. But yeah, any gems that you want to kind of share with our community. And I did see a question pull in, so we'll get to that one after we answer this.
Yeah, my first piece of advice for anyone ever is get to know yourself. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're trying to get into entertainment, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a black woman. But anybody and everybody get to know yourself. The time that you spend in getting to know yourself will, yeah, it's just, there's nothing more important than that, because you know where your North Star is. You'll be able to hear clearly when everybody's trying to infiltrate. Last year, I'm so grateful for the time that I've invested and spent getting to know myself. And I do that in multiple ways. I do it with myself, I do it with my therapist, I do it with my community, I do it with my maker. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Mm-hmm.
an iterative process of me. What are my core values? What does my voice sound like? What do I believe in? What steers me? Because people will tell you what they think should steer you based off of their perception, even your closest friends. But last year, I was super grateful that I had spent so much time getting to know myself, and I learned myself even better last year. But even my closest confidants were telling me to do stuff, and I was like, I don't know if I align with that. And it's like I'm listening and I hear that, and it's important for me to get that. But I actually don't think I'm going in that direction. And I've seen some of it shake out quickly to where I was right. And I think some of it is going to keep moving. And when I say right, it's right for me. It don't have to be right for everybody else. But even some of the stuff that happened, a lot of people who know me and love me are like, you made the best decision. We just couldn't see it from your vantage point, you know? So
Yeah.
I get to know yourself, because if you know yourself, when you move with yourself, you'll never be frustrated. I don't betray myself.
Whew.
Even like, and I used to, but
Never.
like I
And I
used to
used
live
to.
in I used to live in conflict with myself because I knew where I wanted to go, or I knew how to take care of me, or you know what was better for me, especially as a woman, as a nurturer. I used to just overgive, and that's what people wanted, and that was supposed to be good, allegedly. But I was just taxed, I was distraught, I was tired, I was every year at the end of the year just angry and tired, and didn't even have enough time to catch up, and so when I started nurturing myself first, I just learned a lot. So yeah, uh, even people with the best intentions can't tell you what's best for you. And I really tap in with my maker to see how I was created. And so between my maker and me, we're in alignment and just move in that direction. And I feel like that's super important for me. And I think it's super important for everybody because when you're moving with conviction, you don't let yourself down. A lot of times you're let down, your heartache, whatever, comes from either you not living up to an expectation somebody else put on you, or you doing what they told you to do and not living up to what you know is inside of you. So get to know yourself because you'll be able to steer your ship, and then you'll be able to, like, I have carved out, I don't compete with anybody. We're not even playing the same game. There's no competition. Shout out to you, especially if you black. But because I know who I am and where I'm going and the things, and I don't know all of what I'm going, I'm just taking a couple of steps, but it's very unique because I'm built different and I know that. So it allows me to do things. I'm not looking over like, dang, we should be doing that. Or I definitely study. I'm watching everybody because
Yeah.
it's beneficial, but I'm never nervous that like it's too late or I'm gonna miss my moment, or like I had okay, one of my homegirls, Ink, she wrote 16 carriages and Texas Hold'em. Like she's one of the
Fire.
ones that I put on her first ever
Yeah.
show at A3C. You know what I'm saying? She's killing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when she first moved to LA and was like writing for Chris Brown and all these things, people were like, yo, how do you feel? I'm like, man, go off. You know what I'm saying? Because I just like have never, I'm not going to miss my moment. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, now I do feel like sometimes we move out of our grace. We wait too long. And there's an idea, and it's like, there's this book called Big Magic. And it's basically like God sends ideas to earth. And if you don't do it when it's sent to you, and if you don't start to work on it, somebody else is going to iterate it because the idea has to get out. It was meant to be explored and expanded in this world, whether it came through your grandmother and she didn't do it and then your mom didn't do it. Sometimes you have a lot of time. Sometimes it's like, you know what I'm saying? I think about Trapper Tie and Yeehaw, all those things, and some of the other stuff. Some of it's like you gotta move fast. But yeah, all that comes in time if you know yourself. The more you know yourself, the better you understand the pace you're supposed to be at, the more you don't rush.
Yeah.
I move quickly when I need to, but I don't rush. I do not rush. And I don't let people rush me, and I don't rush God.
Mm.
That's my second
Pa-
piece of advice. Don't rush.
Powerful. I needed this. I needed this advice because I've had to tell myself this pretty much every single day, to not rush up just about anything. I got a lot of ideas that I'm bringing to life, y'all, but I'm taking my sweet time. So we did have a couple questions that pulled in. Do you still have a few minutes to answer a
Yeah,
couple?
I'm yours tonight.
Oh my goodness. No, shout out for
Jensen
you.
Mraz, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to you for sharing space with us today, truly. Hold on, let me see if this will show on
You must be
screen.
in another country or on the West Coast because it's dark where
Yeah.
I'm at. And I'm looking out
I'm on
the
the West
window like,
Coast.
dang, you still got sun. I love the sun.
I tried to plan it so like it's going to sunset now, but I was like, let me wrap up the stream before all my natural light goes away. So yeah, I'm on the West Coast right
Yeah.
now. So Kia, what is up? Love you, love you. Thanks for joining. Planning ahead. Oh, I love this question. Yeah. So how do you plan like 6 months ahead? I know you touched base on like that North Star, like that vision, I guess, like kind of what is your process for like how you set up, like do you set yearly goals? Like how do you break things down?
I don't plan 6 months ahead. I think a lot of times, so my whole life I grew up hearing people like talking about your like 10-year plan, 40-year plan, New Year's resolution, and it never resonated with me. And I really always thought that there was something wrong with me until I started getting to know myself better. And I'm like, that's just not for me. I have so much vision. If I go 6 months ahead, I'm not focused on what I'm doing right now. So I do. So I have a restaurant concept that I've been developing and iterating and thinking about for like 7 years. So I don't forsake everything in the future, but I'm like, if it's not time for that, it doesn't serve me super well. And it could be a personality thing. So I'm not telling people that they have to do this. I'm just expressing this to you because I never heard anybody put it to me like this. Because every business person, every intelligent being that I had ever heard from said, you got to plan it like this,
Mm,
and I never could. I would do stuff. I'd be like, well, this year I want to do this, and I would never accomplish those things. But I would accomplish a ton of other stuff because I'm looking at what's in front of me, you know. So for me, this is the first year I've ever really set like for real goals, and I'm working off of a premise called the 90-day year. So I do 90 days max, 3 months, and the concept behind the 90-day year, you can look it up because there's more scholarly people who understand it more. But essentially, you choose 3 or 4 goals. I have it broken into build your own dreams and then me personally. So you choose 3 or 4 goals that you're like, at the end of this year, these things have to be accomplished, but I'm gonna work as if they need to be accomplished in 90 days. And I really
yep.
mean that. I don't like, yeah. So for the most part, I mean 90 days. And so, but it gives you the freedom to say, so then from the night, so you put those there, and then you have to record, okay, in the next 30 days, these are the things I have to do in order to accomplish that. So it
Yeah.
gives you output goals, which to me is a way more beneficial. The book Atomic Habits talks about building structures
Yep.
around your goal setting instead of just having a lofty idea. What's the structure? So then you move back and it says, okay, so then in the next 30 days, these are the things that I have to do to get to this. If I do these things for the next 30 days, it's going to get me closer to that. So in the next 30 days, so in 90 days I'll be there. So you just work backwards. So you move like it's an
Mhm.
equation versus an idealistic conversation. And I feel like that's what a year doesn't give you enough accountability. I wrote a book last year called How to Be Excellent: A Beginner's Guide to Achieving the Unbelievable. Again, it's only 18 pages, y'all. Don't just go get it. Go cop the book. You can get it on Kindle for free if you sign up, or you can buy it from me. It's $5. Support a Black business, a woman during Women's History Month. But it's a dope book. And I work off the premise of CARE, which is community, accountability, resources, and those three equal exceptionality, right? So I don't believe that there's enough accountability in a 365, 360 year,
Mm,
whatever, however many, because it's like you can keep pushing it off until the end
yep.
of the year, and now you've developed the habit of digression or whatever. So because of that, your next move is to say, well, I don't think I really wanted to do that because I didn't really chase it. So you either push it to the next year or you don't do it at all. And then I'll say one other thing to the goals. My goal is just to get better daily. And the way that I assess that is looking back over the last 30 days, right? So for years, I was like, man, I was supposed to exercise more. I didn't really exercise, or I was supposed to do this or whatever. My therapist says, don't should yourself. There's no should. It's like,
Hmm.
same like Yoda, there's no try. You do or you
You
don't. You know what I'm
don't.
saying?
Yep.
So yeah, I was talking to a friend last night about like people are like, "Oh, I'm trying." I'm like, in my life, there's no such thing. I either am doing it, I'm about to do it, or I'm not
Or
doing it
not.
at all. And about
Exactly.
to do it means that there's some steps in place. So take out all of the extra space that would keep you from being accountable to the process of progression. And to me, a lot of times that just means taking one step and requiring yourself to take the next step. So even the way that I look
Mm,
at working out now, did I work out more last month than I did the month before? If I didn't, I'm going to go look on my Planet Fitness app and see, did I work out last quarter more than I did if I didn't, I'm gonna go look, compare my first quarter of last year to the first quarter of this year. I'm gonna look somewhere to find some hope and say, hey, I've gotten better. Now let me take that win and use it for momentum. So that's what I do now. Like even today, right before this, I was like, I haven't gone to the gym in 2 weeks and I only had 20 minutes and I did it. But I don't
Yep.
look at that as, you know, because some people be like, I'll go for 10 minutes. I was on the step. I went for 20 minutes, but then I was shooting emails. I was on the Stairmaster for 10 minutes, but I'm like, this something is better than nothing and it's
So showing
doable.
up.
So
Yep.
I'm taking steps and it's like I have gotten so much more healthy in the last 2 years looking at it as that like I'm getting better daily versus I didn't go for long enough or I didn't eat right today. It doesn't matter. Just get a little bit better, like fine tune yourself every day and encourage yourself to get better every day. And if you didn't, the cool thing about the horse is you just have to get out of your bed. Like to get back on is like, cool, today I will. And tomorrow I will. And then when you
Yep.
create a streak of that, man, the streak creates confidence. And when you're confident and that's when you walk into the room and say everything is mine. You know, people think that I'm like just was born like this. And I think I was kind of born confident. But it's like I'm consistent. And it's not that I'm consistent every day. I have a trend of consistency over the years because I keep showing up. And that trend of consistency has afforded me the ability to say I'm myself for a living. And I wake up and I do what I want every day. And if I start doing what I don't want for longer than a week or two, like I don't always want to send emails, but longer than a week or two, I'm like, no, let's read. And that's another thing. I'll say this, and
Yep.
this is it. When it comes to goals or whatever, I'm quick to release them. And again, there's got to be you got to know yourself because
Yep.
if you're a quitter or if you're somebody who can't, but I pivot like you talked about at the beginning. I'll pivot in a heartbeat. Hey, this doesn't serve me. That's why I got out of management. Or
Yep.
actually, this started me. Just get started consistently. You can move a train that's moving. You can redirect it if it's moving faster than you can get a train going. So I'll start in a direction. My 90-day joints have already been revamped twice. What are we like? 45 days into this, or maybe 65 days into the year. So it's like, or maybe more. Who knows? I don't know. I have time blindness, but like, I'm quick to redirect. I don't have to waste time because I committed to it. It doesn't matter if I spent money and time. That's just extra energy that's helped me understand. Now it's time for me to, you know what I'm saying? That's why my locomotive keep moving. You know what I'm saying? Choo choo. I'm the conductor.
Yes. No, you touched on so many more things I could unpack. Look, y'all, I could have a multiple hours
Yeah, I'm
conversation
sorry I
with
talked
you.
so long. I'm kind of long winded when I'm
No.
talking about my passion. I'm
Me
passionate about
too.
being me.
No,
You know what I'm
no,
saying?
no. We're not cutting anybody off in this series. We are
Yeah.
chatting it up. And no, thank y'all for joining, sticking around, hopping in. Some great feedback coming in from the chat. So appreciate y'all.
Thank you,
I
Earth.
I know we had there was a question on IG. Yes, a lot of heart emojis coming in on Instagram. Yes,
I
y'all
can't do
showing
that thing they
love.
be doing on Instagram or on TikTok. My finger, you know how they be. My fingers don't. I've tried
Whew.
so many times. I'm not young enough. I'm in my 30s at this point, so I let it go. It's okay. I'll do the OJ. OG. I love y'all. Thank y'all for the love.
No, you're incredible. So I know you kind of touched on this throughout the conversation, especially around the advice portion. So we're still gonna ask it anyway. What's something you've learned that you would tell your younger self before entering the industry? This question came in from IG. Shout out to our Instagram community. Appreciate y'all.
Um, I would tell myself don't second guess myself. So kind of going back to knowing myself. Um, I would tell myself to go get that corporate job. Man, I was working at like all these like coffee like so I was nannying at first and I love kids. My most people in my life also know me as Auntie E. Like I actually have like nephews and nieces, but then I got a bunch of nephews and nieces and that I'm just a nurturer, so I love kids. So I was nannying, which was cool. It was pretty. It was paying me pretty well. And then I was like touring and doing the music thing. And my families, they were so dope. They would like literally hire somebody, and then when I come off the road, they'd fire them again, which is dope. But like, I think, man, I had several opportunities to get corporate gigs. Um, I don't know if I give myself this advice. I think I would. My mentor, I was meeting with him, one of them, a couple nights ago, and he was like, "It all makes sense for where you're going." But I feel like I would tell myself, just go ahead and take that corporate job that pays well, because
Mm,
I had so many, just so many years. I'm not even talking about weeks, months. I had years where I just couldn't breathe. Like it just I was barely getting by. Or when I would make money, I was investing it. And I've always been an investor. So I just like investing in the music stuff, not like in the stock market shit. If I did
yeah.
that, I would have had money. But like, yeah, I remember one time I was just like, just felt like I was so broke this one year. And I'm like, I feel like I'm making pretty good money. And I had thrown a tour that year and I had spent $8,000 on that tour, like rent it all. And I was like, oh, this is where my money be going. And then I took 4 months off. Like I took 2 months off to do that tour, but throughout the course of the whole year, between like fly out dates and different stuff and bookings, I had taken about 4 months off. So I'm like, huh, okay. 4 months off plus 8,000. Okay, that's what so I think I would have told myself to take a corporate gig. I think I would have told myself uh to look into just some alternative places to live and alternate ways to make money. Like now I know like I know about different programs to get like free housing or discounted
Mm,
house. You know what I'm saying? Like the things that would have gotten me to the place that I am now where I am like cared for and like all of my basic needs are so well met, and then I'm able to like really think differently. I think I lived in survival mode for way too long. So like I spent like 2.5 years in therapy just unhinging from survival mode. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So I think that's what I would have told myself. I'm not quite sure. I think that's what I would have told myself. But I also don't live with regrets, so I don't know.
Yep. I feel you. No, thank you for sharing that. Like,
Take the job
yo,
though. If you're wondering right now though, I'm telling you, whoever's thinking about like I just want to live my dream and take the job. Take the job, because what you can
whew.
do with the job, you can take the job and flip the money if it's really your dream, your energy. I used to work. This is why I think I should have taken it. It was dumb as let me not curse. It was super dumb because I would work. There's this one time a couple times I was working three different jobs and I was sleeping on average 4 hours a night, and I would work six. Sometimes I would work 6 or 7 days a week, and then sometimes I would work like 14 days in a row. I was killing myself. My health was in shambles. I was killing myself, and but like while I was at work, any downtime I would be like writing ideas and like whatever. So I was still always felt like I had time to be the creative. I'm always gonna find time for that, but if I would have just taken like a 40-hour a week job, I would have been making way more. I would have been able to sleep. But I don't know, like it's like part of the hustle and the grind that I had. I don't I'm not connected to that person anymore as much, but yeah, I don't know. I take the job though, yo. Like take some pressure off. You think this shit is about to blow next week, it's not. And if it does, cool, quit the job, but it takes way longer, way much more money, and way much more focus and energy. And if you can push yourself to do it while you have a job, you know you're going to make it. If you are thinking that you can't have the job because it's taking time away from you, you're never going to make it because it requires so much more. It requires so much more. Even now, like I make almost all of my money outside of the fun shit that I did, all the events and stuff. Like I told y'all, we lost $250,000 last year. That was business debt. So we're all the stuff we do now, we just putting that now. We didn't lose. We didn't take a 6 figure loss. We didn't get paid 6 figures, but our company was profitable. So I
Yeah.
just want to let y'all know, like, if it was 6 figures, I would have filed for bankruptcy, beloved. I'm not paying off that debt. Goodbye.
Look.
I'll file for bankruptcy and refile the LLC in another state and name it the same thing. Y'all would never even know. So it's not like that. But I'm saying the all the cool fun stuff that mostly that I spend my time on that people see, that joint is just paying off the business debt. I make my money consulting and just all lots of other things. But I don't think I would even have the ability to do as much as I do because I don't. It doesn't really phase me. People ask me all the time, "How do you do something?" I'm like, "Oh, this joint, this is a break. It's a walk in the park compared to what I used to do." So take the job, yo. Take the job. Take the job. Take the job.
Whew. Yes, the job, y'all. A lot of people know this, but I was building like the framework for Unearthly while working like full time, 50, 60 hours a week at an agency, working with some of the biggest brands. Like, and I still was like, every time I got off work, weekends, just building out. And then I saved up a cushion and I was like, I'm going for it. But yes, that
That's how you know.
job
That's how you
funded
know
my
you love
dreams.
it. That's how you know you love it. Because if you only love it, and that's another thing, you'll start to resent your dream if your dream is the thing that's required to feed you. You know what I'm saying? You start to eat your seed. And if you eat your seed, then you'll never grow the tree, the forest, the garden. You'll never have the acreage because you're gonna keep eating your seed. And so for me, that's why I used to just like hustle and grind. And then I started realize, and there's lessons in it. I'm not saying there's no lessons in the grind, but like, and I was never sleeping on anybody's couch. I lived in Atlanta, and Atlanta cost of living is low. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I done some crazy like little whoop de whoop whatever, but like I've been blessed to not have to like really, and I'm a woman. I'm not trying to do, but yeah, I would say take the job. Like is so it'll bring you so much peace of mind. I wish I would have got a job in 2020. After I lost all that bread, I moved back in with my parents. I was just like, pressed. And I was with them for I think 9 months. It felt like 3 freaking years. You know what I'm saying? But I wish I didn't even in my mind, I was just like, what am I gonna build? What am I gonna rebuild? How can I make money? And it's like if I would have just taken a job and stacked what? That would have been a different year. But anyways, take the job.
Take the job. And on that note, thank you so much for joining us, Erinn. This has been such a great conversation. Like, just so many gems during this time. Like we went through a lot.
We did.
Oh my
I
goodness.
was trying to get
So
you off. I appreciate you.
yes, no, I needed this conversation for myself. Like my soul feels rejuvenated from this conversation, and I know it's
Right.
resonating with so many other people who have been able to catch us live today, and those who are going to catch the replay. So that's coming, y'all. So yes, like we're gonna wrap it up. I don't have any announcements from my side, but if you can just quickly let the folks know where they can find you at, how they can support you, your ventures, what y'all have going on this year, go ahead and let them know.
Yeah, I'm at the Aaron Effect on everything you see it on screen. And even my YouTube, I'm in the process of getting that started back up. It's under the Aaron Effect. There's videos there, but I'm determined because I live a really fascinating life. I literally jet set all week, all days. Like yeah, I have a really cool life and I'm grateful and I'm living my dream for real. And I just want to like show people like what it looks like to be me. Not on no arrogant shit either. It's just like I think it's cool. Like and yeah, so the Aaron Effect on everything. My company's called Build Your Own Dreams. So we're BYOD Graham, BYOD Talk, BYOD tweets on everything, but you can find it in my bio. Um, we're throwing a lot of events in Austin, in the city of Austin right now. So Yeehaw is coming up on the 28th. If you're close to Austin, we have 19 tickets left as of a couple hours ago. It's probably gonna sell out. But yeah, stay
Yes,
tapped
it
in with me.
is. Yes, it is.
Um, I have a book. It's called How to Be Excellent: A Beginner's Guide to Achieving the Unbelievable. I try to offer the world something every year on my birthday. Sometimes it's a film project. Sometimes it's whatever. Last year I decided to write a book. Um, I used to tell everybody the E is for excellent, and so that's where that idea came from. And it's just the beginning. Eventually I want to have a full book stacks of how to be excellent books that I put together as an actual physical book. But it's just an ebook. You can get it for $5 in my bio, or you can get it for free on Amazon Kindle if you sign up for the Kindle subscription. And it still looks good on me. I was a bestseller last year because a lot of friends and family supported me. I think it's a cool read. If you have Audible, I read it in this voice, and I like to hear it like again, not in an arrogant way, but I've played it back to encourage myself before. So yeah, if you have Audible, use a credit on it, like, and you can listen to me talk you through it. Yeah, that's it. The Erinn Effect on everything. I'm grateful for y'all. Tap in. If you want to get on the phone with me, there's a link in my bio. If you DM me and say you want to pick my brain, I'm gonna pass. Bless you. But
Hey,
But you
it
can get on the
is what it
phone with me,
is.
and if you like Michelin star restaurants and you want to take me out to one, I'll let you pick my brain. But anything less than that, I'm good. But I appreciate y'all. I really do. And I appreciate encouragement. So if you want to DM me some encouragement and have a little kiki for a minute, or whatever, like, yeah, stuff like that. Being human together, let's do that. If you want to talk business,
Yes.
it costs.
I'm right there with you. I feel you. Oh my goodness. This has been such a great conversation. Thank you for coming on for our first episode as our first guest. Like, means so much to me. You're someone, as I mentioned throughout this conversation, that has inspired my journey as well. So just so grateful. Shout out to you for all you're doing. I cannot wait to continue to support you this year and everything that you and your team are bringing to life.
And
On
we're gonna
that
work on
note,
something together, right?
we
So we're gonna.
are. We gonna talk about that. Yeah, we gonna talk
I
offline.
don't know what we're gonna do, but
I
we're gonna
don't,
do something.
I don't know yet. Just wait, y'all. Magic is brewing. Gonna wrap up this live stream. Thank you to everyone who has been able to catch us live, for sending in questions, for your comments, for adding the emojis and letting us know that y'all are in the room. And yes, on that note, we are gonna wrap it up. Thank you once again, Erinn, for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, y'all. Have a good night. Bye, everyone.